Juventus as an authoritarian football club, or even claiming it as an excess of evil, I think it is not an overstatement. Well, judging from their transfer activities aiming at buying core players from the other competitors in Serie A, somehow intimidating, and also, but the most importantly, the performance on the pitch. Not talking about the player damaging tactics or viciously attacking other players, but also most importantly, again, to the unfair advantages they receive from the referee decision, the so-called decisions. If you look into the match highlight or look into the match report, you would say, well, it is very unreasonable, and especially when they were playing against Milan. Well, all the so-called allegations would not be my agenda in this episode. We are talking about its management style, the club as the whole. Well, this time we are not focusing on the Juventus men's soccer team, but let's switch it on its women's team. Its women's team has clinched the women's Serie A titles for 2 years. So the situation is going to be very similar to the men's team. But how about the management style? Why do I have to talk about that? Well, look into the recent news. Its ex-player, the Swedish defender Petronella Ekroth, filed an accusation to the team. Well, someone will get their heads scratched, especially, well, this Swedish player was only in Juventus for 1 season. How come she has left so early, or at a sudden? And also, why she accused the team of the mismanagement? Well, that has to be connected with the Cristiano Ronaldo incident. The incident about the rape allegations, which was taking place last year. The court filed the allegations to his misbehavior back in 2009, when he met a woman in Las Vegas called Catherine Mayorga. We will not talk about the incident in this episode, because you can see the whole story on the internet, and that the story was also not a very special one. I think it's quite common. Something happened in the hotel when the man trying to give the woman a clothes and alternative clothing, and the man clinged onto the woman and raped her. Well, this kind of sexual assault was very common. But this allegations or this charge was against one of the most sought after soccer player on the pitch. So this became a very special deal. It was also interesting to see how the team responds to this allegation, especially Renato was a new signing last year. So unsurprisingly, the team heartily support Cristiano Ronaldo, and mainly stating that, well, you could not blame him until he is proven wrong, until he is really guilty. So the football club plays his professionalism and his dedications, claiming all that could blame what the player could bring to the team, and also all about his positive event on the pitch without mentioning the allegation or the charges again. Well, we could understand from their point of view, but it is not necessarily correct. Some critics already made their note and told the media that, well, this kind of announcements should not be coming from a professional football club, especially the court has not confirmed any charges, and the case was undergoing the court proceedings. So I think it should be, well, I also have the same stand that the team should not uphold all the positive things they have done, but it is better for the team to remain silent, and or at least they could say, well, the case is undergoing the court proceedings, so we would not talk about it much. And Cristiano Ronaldo is a Juventus player, and he will contribute all he has to the team in the coming seasons. Well, something like that, I think it's already good enough. So I think Juventus as a professional football club was doing something far more than what they should have done. This is too much, okay? And gives others impression that, okay, you think Cristiano Ronaldo was really innocent and should not be charged by the court. So it sounds like they themselves, the team, was the judge. This is very inappropriate, right? So this is one of the inappropriate things that Juventus was doing last year, but recently, coming from the recount from the ex-Juventus Roman player Petronella Aircraft, we know that Juventus was really authoritarian football club. Why would I say that? Because Aircraft recounts how the team deny or disallow the women's player to talk about the case of Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, actually, the women's team players do not speak the case publicly, and do not speak the case in front of camera or in front of the reporters. They just share what they thought after the training sessions, or share what they thought privately in the private sessions. But the teams disallow them to do that. And I think somehow it forbid the women's team players to talk about them, to leak any information to the media. So that's why Petronella Aircraft could do it now, because she is no longer the Juventus player. If you ask Gemma, the captain, or other Italian national team's player who is playing Juventus at the moment, you could not find the answer. They refuse to tell you all the things about the team, about this kind of unfair treatment. Why could the woman not allowed to speak about their opinion or I think just an opinion to the case that has been just finished recently, and I think everyone has its own opinion and should be free to express their mind and their opinion in any occasion. I think even in front of the camera, I think they could speak about it if it is very weird that the woman could not speak what they want to. Well, this is not a political issue. Well, this is not. And, well, you could say this is under court proceeding, but this should not prevent from them speaking against someone or speaking in favor of someone. Well, it is a very serious accusation to Juventus, because they do not allow women to talk about something that is supposed not a very serious topic. And even Petronella Aircraft spoke against the team that, well, I think sometimes if I was on candid camera, and sometimes I thought I was in prison. I think I was closet because all of our opinion didn't count, and I could not do anything that I want. This was a very, very serious issue when you are in the so-called democratic country that uphold the principle of freedom of speech. So this isn't the Juventus as a place that Juventus is equal to gender discrimination. Juventus is equal to the ultimate power. No one could speak against them, and even the team's most valued player, right? I think it is very absurd to assume all the players should support the team members. Even some of the team members were supposed to do wrong, or even commit criminal acts. So, in this sense, how could Juventus be respected as a professional soccer team? And how could we understand the ultimate value? I mean the football cup value of Juventus. That's the value of indiscrimination and equality should be universal and should be upheld to all the soccer teams, all the sporting teams across the world. Very, very hypocritical that Juventus opened the women's soccer team, but not allowed the basic humanity. Does not allow the basic freedom of speech among the players. I think it is very, very unreasonable and unacceptable. We should condemn the act. We should condemn these kinds of authoritarian management. Well, come on, guys. It's not about the Me Too movement. It's about the basic human rights. Well, they do not allow the basic human rights to be practiced among the players and in the team. And they told the coach and told the staff that to stop and prevent the women to speak against one of the most valued players in the world. Well, Cristiano Ronaldo should not have this kind of privilege. He is not the judge. He does not represent the law. In the contrary, he should be subject to the law if he was fined found to have any wrongdoings and make any criminal acts. So from this incident, you could see Juventus was a really, really evil. I could say. Let me let me file this accusation to this team, because this was a very unrespectable team to my mind. Not only what they receive from the referee, this beyond my agenda to today. The most important thing is they do not grant the basic human right to the player and do not respect human beings. So let us to look into what Juventus do to the players and to the soccer fans across the world. Please open your eyes and look into this incident, especially if you are the die-hard soccer fans of Juventus. Please tell your club that the clubs have done a very, very wrong decisions.